How I love the end credit with the AFI money as well. It sort of like reminds me of the credit that's on the back of ESP discs.
Right.
You know, the artist alone was responsible for the music on this disc.
Yeah.
But what was the nature then of like how you would get money from AFI at this time? This was and obviously then you mentioned briefly, you alluded to the concerns they had over it. But to me, it's like it seems to me like nudity would be the least of their concerns.
This
with this
one
film.
was unbelievable. Alma Berard at the AFI said, she called me and said, "We're looking for people to give grants to." This was in 1970s. And she said, "George Manupelli said you were a good filmmaker." That's the guy who ran the Ann Arbor. So I submitted I don't know, I guess I sent her a film of a couple of my previous things. And at that time, the AFI were giving $100,000 grants every year, wow, or more. And that went on from about 69 or 68. I don't know when the first year they gave them. Tom, you've gotten one, haven't you, from them? No? Okay. Not for the Muybridge film?
Oh, I got it. It was a scholarship.
Oh, okay.
But it wasn't $100,000.
Oh, no, neither was mine. But I was on the grants program in 1976, which is a long story. I was on the flunky committee that looked at 1,500 films at the old Doheny estate, you know. And then once we had selected maybe 200, they went to another group, and we had to go with these other three people to defend the films we chose. And I think maybe they gave more than $100,000 every year. And that year, a lot of independents got. Hollis Frampton got a grant. Scott Bartlett and Chick Strand were on the final committee. My committee was this will kill you. It was Ruben Mamoulian and I think Chick Strand or Scott Bartlett, I forget. A woman writer at the time who made films that I can't even remember her name. And on the other end, who made it so wonderful? Frank Capra was on my committee. And every time we would go back to Frampton, we were all pushing him because he needed the money. And there was this, they would look to me like, why are we looking at these cows by Hollis Frampton? I forget which film that was. And Ruben Mamoulian finally looked at me and he said, "Who are you?" And I said, "I'm just a flunky guy looking at these films." But it took us 3 months to look at. We did not look at every single minute of every single film, but we were supposed to. You know? And myself and St. Clair Bourne, and we had a projectionist whose name was Prometheus Patience, and he lived in a trailer on the AFI lot, and I often wondered whatever happened to him. But the guy who made Sweet Smell of Success?
Sandy McKenna.
Yeah, he was one of the final judges too on the other team.
Well, he was dean of the film school at CalArts at that time.
Yeah, right. And what had happened was I took all the experimental films and St. Clair Bourne took all of the documentary films because that's what we were told. I should take the ones I liked and he should take the ones he liked. Well, Sandy got on the documentary committee and he was just outraged, you know, because he was just looking at one bad documentary after another. So finally they intermixed them and some of mine went to this committee, but it was sort of a mess. And then I think by 1980 they had stopped giving these grants. And I think it was as high as $300,000 a year.
But that was not to any one person, that's dispersed among many people.
Yeah, they gave, the grants were mostly like 9,000 to 11,000 as I recall, and 30 people got them, you know, every year.
But the response then to this film when it was done?
They were going to have a showing in D.C. of 9 films picked by Gene Youngblood was one of the guys. and blah, 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 and Roger Ebert, and two other people, I don't remember, they picked DeathStyles as one of the 9 to show at the Red, White, and Blue Theater in Washington, D.C., or whatever, you know. And when somebody down there saw the films that these 4 guys had picked, they said, we're not showing those films, you know. So that, I think, maybe also ended the grants program a little bit. Quick Billy was one of them, and they just said, we can't show those films at the Mary Pickford Theater or whatever. I don't mean that. But they had something in D.C. Is there a Mary Pickford in D.C.? Yeah, okay. So whoever they were, I don't know. But they were not to, even though these 4 critics that they chose to pick the films, they were not going to show them. And I can't even remember what some of the other ones were.
I mean, it still strikes me as this remarkable. There's like a decade of films where there's like, you know, a lot of films come through, good rigorous experimental work from the 70s with AFI grant money.
Yeah.
That helped support it, which is just like, that's not a time capsule. It's like different era.
I showed my film 37 to the AFI fellows, as they were called. They were directing fellows, and they all loved it. They said, with just a little more work, it could be a commercial film.
Well, that's always the weird thing, of course, because AFI was always aspiring to the commercial filmmakers. But, you know, their first class, though, of course, had Stanton Cade, Terrence Malick, Paul Schrader, Bruce Lane, and more. Any other questions, please? Yeah.
What have you been up to? Are you still making films? Are you planning to make new films?
I have run out of money. I would have sold out, but nobody ever asked me. And no, the last one was just so expensive that then I made a video, you know, of based on my mother's diaries in 2004, and that was the last one. I got all kinds of movies that I could make, you know, but the idea of just picking up a video camera and making them kind of turns me off for some reason.
Why is that?
I don't know.
I don't. The medium itself?
Well, I have seen some video projected films that are really spectacular, you know, but I don't know. I'm just sort of caught up with the film and not the video. Plus, I'm too old and too tired. This film was so rigorous; it just sort of killed me. And Monster Show was props and paintings. I mean, it just went on and on and on. It was very, very hard to put together by myself. And so it seems like every film idea that I get is more grandiose than the last, and it's I know I can't do it anymore by myself. You know. So I'll either make more Bill and Ruby's, or I might make some more portrait films, or like the one on my mother is sort of a portrait film in a way. But to do another Akron, I couldn't do it. I just don't have the energy.
Possibility of seeing your films on DVD?
Yes, but they're not great transfers. They were done at Kent State, you know, and they're okay on a small TV, but they don't hold up well to project them at all. You know. But I have them for sale through Canyon Cinema, and I've sold a few. But they didn't want to get involved with video stuff for a long time. They wanted to stick to film, and now they I think have taken on more digital video and stuff at Canyon. And the last time I went to the what?
Just for sale. Yeah.
Just for sale, right? Not to rent.